Hi, everyone. Welcome to Learnings, a channel dedicated to showcasing the expertise of educators, designers, and innovators in the realm of sustainability. As we usher in 2024, I'm seizing the opportunity to elevate this channel, creating more expansive platforms for meaningful discussions on sustainability. The content structure will evolve, transitioning from video chapters to segments: stories, innovation, and education. Each segment is thoughtfully curated to provide a comprehensive exploration of its respective theme. Additionally, I've introduced headings for easy navigation, allowing you to skip ahead to subjects that pique your interest. Meet Tracy Wilson, co-founder of Super Certification, where Super stands for Single-Use Plastic Elimination Reduction. This third-party certification program collaborates with businesses, guiding them towards alternative procurement processes to eliminate single-use plastics. Tracy is also a partner at Pacific Workplaces, a regional co-working operation on the West Coast.
My personal history around sustainability is one that for about 10 years, the last 10 years, I've been really paying a lot of attention to the things: fast trash, fast consumerism, fast fashion, the just general waste of society. Single-use plastics became kind of a particular anti-passion of mine. And that was really something that I was doing on my own at my home and in my personal life. And it was trying, but actually not doing a very good job in my business choices. And I wasn't really matching my same energy at work as I was at home. And that really kind of shifted, a number of things shifted in the horrible year of 2020. And that was, running a business in which we were open. We were, of course, hyper vigilant about the risks of COVID. And it was clear that the first thing everybody did was make everything throwawayable. And it went on for so long, even well beyond when we realized that touching a door handle may give you something, but it wasn't going to be COVID. And I was just realizing it was just becoming more and more intense for me that in my business operations, while I still needed to run things, I needed to start making some different decisions. And that kind of came to a head, so to speak, when I needed to buy some last minute chairs. One of the things that we do in co-working, of course, is that we need to manage well our inventory of furniture, and we need to be able to scale up when we have an opportunity to bring in a big client. And I had one in which a company came in. Actually, for COVID reasons, they needed to set up a couple of private offices right away, and I needed to get 5 chairs. I ended up ordering from a company that I had used, and it was fantastic. Within 3 days or so, we need to move quickly on these things. I got these 5 massive, I can't even express how big boxes these were for these 5 chairs. And I spent more time unpackaging the plastic wrap, the styrofoam, the tape, all of this stuff, all of the pieces of everything in these boxes to pull out all the bits of the chairs, and ultimately even took to put the chairs together to roll them in the office. And then I had all of these boxes I didn't even know what to do with. I couldn't, we had one of those big waste receptacles for the office space, but these 5 boxes would have, filled for the building's worth for the week. It was so insane. And I called, I was happy for having the product, but I called the company and I said, I'm actually sick to my stomach over what kind of I've just purchased with this, and I've gotten with this packaging. And truthfully, what I heard was what I hear a lot when I make my thoughts known, and that is, there's nothing we can do about it. You wanted your stuff fast, and the only way to do that is to have these things, pre-done, hyper packaged, ready to roll. And it was essentially, you either buy for us or you don't. But the answer's so often in furniture, like, yeah, we understand, we hear that, but no. And I just started thinking that no wasn't enough. That wasn't good enough anymore. And kind of right after that, I needed to set up a new location that we were opening, and I decided I'm gonna look and see what options there are for me locally, to buy some secondary market used furniture off for the office. And right away, I realized, looking, companies like yours, there's so much out there. There's sort of this misnomer that, yeah, it's great, except you can only get 3 chairs, and then one of them's dirty, so it's not really an option, or you have to go, from place to place to place. It's just, there's really a vast network. I ended up choosing to go local. And right away, I found, at one of my local, businesses, 16 beautiful conference room chairs at $100 each, with the whopping $75 delivery fee, which of course I got within about 2 days. And being used to spend $800 to $1,200 a chair for a new, nice quality chair, to get basically 16 chairs for the price of two, and to have virtually nothing in delivery, I just realized that this was something that any business not at least using this solution for a percentage of furniture purchases was just making a big mistake. And so that was kind of one of the things that I started, really getting into about the office
Yeah,
furniture and the waste.
it's very wasteful.
Oh,
I will say, I've been practicing, and whether it's interior design or architecture, furniture installations, and I had not realized how much is wrapped in plastic or non-recyclable goods, and many people don't actually see it because the installation process is very limited parties that are actually on site doing it, and it's all thrown away before
and that's what things from fall is,
Mhm.
we'll get rid of this mass quantity of waste for you. We will put it in the price, but yeah, I mean, we'll kind of be the waste fairies. We'll take this away for you. So yes, that is definitely true.
Yeah, it's a majority of manufacturers in new, unfortunately, have this process.
Well, in looking through, and this is probably more residential, to be honest, but in kind of thinking through, I started getting some numbers, and depending on what I've read, it's been a kind of a bit of a large difference. But the EPA, from different things have read, have said between 9 and 12 million tons of furniture is sent in the U.S. alone, is sent into landfill. And actually, it's obviously a point of information that's getting reworked in various stories online. But in 1960, it talks about, when so much of our furniture was solid wood and things like that, about 2 million. So even when you consider our population growth from 2 million to between 9 and 12 million every year, I mean, it's astronomical. And then when you think about the fact that well, there's a whole term now. I mean, I mentioned at the beginning, fast trash, fast consumers, and fast fashion. We hear about all those. Fast furniture is an actual term now. And it refers to this, low quality, inexpensive, cheaply made, not repairable, you can't fix. The only thing you can do is throw it away. It's not even barely movable for a transient society. And, the amount is just going to keep growing. So, and especially, it appears the furniture industry, this again, residential, but it certainly goes to the office, where the newest look is very important. And so there is a lot of almost, not seasonal furniture like fashion, but not too far off when you kind of are thinking about the latest trends and color schemes and so forth. There's definitely some pressure about having the newest and latest, and
Absolutely.
not buying necessarily for quality. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I would add that a lot of those new trends and finishes actually use a lot of classical pieces just refurbished in new fabrics.
You're right.
And those classical pieces, you can find those things from resellers or secondhand all across the country, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, when you see these things that are, Chippendale inspired or whatever. They're just particle board and resins. And I realize, there's a cost associated, and there can be a huge disparity between the really low quality stuff and the high quality, but not always. It does take some work finding, but yeah.
So understanding that the wasteful behavior of wrapping these assets and the disposability of it and disposability of furniture in general, I mean, what would you recommend to this audience for awareness or just education to learn more?
Well, so again, one of the numbers I actually was sort of shocked by. I was reading something from the Zero Waste Europe, and they claim that between 80 and 120 billion dollars a year is wasted on just packaging. And when you think that 40% of the stuff that goes into waste is packaging, and then from this conversation, so there's so much packaging involved with furniture. I mean, you start to get where this between throwing stuff away and the packaging, it's not good business. It's not a good investment. And another number that I really blew my mind when I heard a while ago, and I actually have had to go and look at it a couple times, is that New York City, which I think you're attached to.
Yeah.
They spend 150 billion a year annually just on residential and public waste removal. And if you think about, I mean, waste is big business. And so there's a lot of things that kind of keep this going. And then from a commercial perspective, I mean, it's roughly not quite, but $25 per cubic yard for commercial waste haulers. And I think it's about 16 per 100 pounds. I mean, the money starts to add up about what it actually costs when you add those things in with the stuff that you're buying. So what I would say, I mentioned the cost savings, just that one anecdote of the conference room chairs. But I would definitely say that anybody that's in business, if you're doing a tenant improvement, if you're looking to refresh, if you have some things that are broken and you can't salvage, I would say anything. There should be policies within your business operation that at least XX percent, 20%, 25%, whatever percent, is furniture that comes from the used remanufactured market. There's a lot of places where, certainly reception areas, conference rooms, you can get whole sets at just a fraction of the amount of money. And, I would say that would definitely be a good policy. I would say, in my experience of calling up and hearing, no, sorry, nothing we can do, just to advocate more, to do what I did to start saying, well, I'm not going to just accept no. I mean, in the end, we do end up buying furniture that's overly packaged, but at least if we start taking some of our money and using it to our values, that's important. And so just not letting that just be the answer. And certainly if you have enough purchasing ability to say, no, we can find some other solutions. I would personally, one of the things I was thinking of, if this supplier had said, you know what, if you pay me an extra, I'm making up a number, $25, even possibly per chair, we will make it so that, one of those boxes or two of those boxes, we'll send you the return for it. You package the stuff up and you send it back to us. And what I would love to have it be where, when you think about like a reuse of the wrapping, I don't think crazy ideas like, we know that poorer nations are absolutely inundated with our fast fashion. I mean, if you think about just the random t-shirts from every event that every school, every nonprofit, every whatever create, you could probably buy 1,000, 10,000 used t-shirts and use those to wrap casters for chairs and then send them back and redo them. And there are so many ways in which we have just such a a huge amount, a quantity of stuff that could be probably quite cheaply, brought into the process and reused. And I think that there are conscientious consumers like myself that within a certain dollar amount would absolutely be delighted to get the opportunity instead of just hearing no, to be able to, obviously I'd rather have it be where it was part of it, but if you consider you have to take care of paying for the waste anyway, it would make sense to pay for an addition of getting it reused. So those are some things that I would say. The other would be, really pushing on your suppliers to do. There's corrugated paper bubble wraps. There's all of these. There's a new. Actually, I wrote it down. Natural. One of the things in Super, we've met the group around the Natural Polymers Group, the naturalpolymersgroup.com, and they're kind of a consortium. That may be not quite the right word, but they're a group of science-based creators who are looking at options for like single-use plastics, but they're plant-based without the chemical modifiers. So that's the important part. Bioplastics that are just chemically enhanced, they're really no different than plastic. But there's a lot of solutions out there. The mushrooms we're starting to hear a lot about, seaweed and so forth, and paying attention and following what trends and what things are available to start asking for your suppliers to provide. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going all over the place.